Hello, welcome to a new video. You liked the Kibitzing video yesterday, and I just spontaneously decided to have a look at the currently running games again here on ICC. So it's a 5-minute game here, and I really prefer these two to the 3-minute games to do commentary upon. It's just a little bit more time to look at the stuff, and also, yeah, there's simply less big mistakes in there. So who's playing here? This is on the white side, international master. His handle is Darnock. This is Conrad Holt. He's a pretty young American player, 19 years old, I think, or maybe at best 20. I think he's 19, and he will become a grandmaster in about 1 or 2 months. And he's a super strong blitz player. You see his rating is 2,600 something in the 5-minute pool, and he's really strong in blitz. I think I have one of the worst possible scores against him. I think I have like nothing, maybe a draw here and there, but I don't really remember that I even won a game, and this rarely happens. Yeah, at least win once in a while. Okay, so black player is grandmaster from Cuba. Let me check this quickly. Noiris Delgado, Elo 2600 something. Okay, 2610. Okay, so we've got a pretty high rated duel here. Holt has got about 2500 something in over the board tournament chess. Okay, so we got a Nimzo. This came from a Nimzo Indian, and we've got pretty typical kind of game for the Nimzo. Black has given up both his bishops, but has a very healthy pawn structure, and white suffers a bit from those weaknesses here on c4 especially. a3 also a bit weak, but not a current target. The question is, will black be able to get something on those weaknesses? Only question is, can white equalize this position? Yeah, white might have ideas to bring a knight. Yeah, I expected this. A knight to on e4, c3, d5, or something along these lines. A knight to d5 or knight to b5 would be nice. And it's not quite so clear how black should strengthen his position. A problem is that he just played king f7, which maybe was an unlucky move, because knight e4, queen moves, and c5 was a check, so he retreated the king. And now white has gained something, this knight on e4, but still not apparent what white should do here. Knight c3, yeah, you have to reckon with a possible loss of the c4 pawn. Maybe queen b1, something like this. Yeah, attack. He keeps e4 protected. The knight is not bad there, of course. And if black would take on d1, rook d1, rook c4, I've got knight d6. Okay. Yeah, maybe white can play c5 at some point and open the position. This would help him. Yeah, exactly. Get rid of this pawn. On b5 you might have knight d6. Yeah, knight d6 maybe. Yeah, black also suffers a bit from a slightly weakened king position. This configuration here, h6, f6, so it can be a bit tricky. Now you see the knight might come to e6. Yeah, queen b3 or something to get knight to e6 with check. Yeah, black has been outplayed here a bit, I think. It's not terrible yet. It's not terrible yet, I think. Hard to tell. I mean, those guys know what they're doing, especially the white player. I have very high respect. I lose like every blitz game, and And this doesn't even happen against, I mean, I have a terrible score. I mean, I even win occasionally against guys like Sarawan or Chris Jensen or whatever, not like lots of the time, but I have my wins here and there, and I never won against this guy, I think. Okay, so this a4 pawn is maybe another source of attack here, or target, not a source. Yeah, so I think white tries to strengthen his position a bit and sort of says to black, okay, I have a good position, what are you doing? Black cannot do much here. Knight c6, you could just take a4. Black more or less can only sit and wait. And the a4 pawn really might be gone at some point. Rook c4, something like this. Oh no, this is no threat. Rook c3 maybe. Rook c3 with the idea to take on a4 with a knight. Yeah, this is also a good move. Takes away those d5 and f5 squares. And this is interesting. Black might take f2 now. I'm surprised that he allowed this. I mean, it's not just a pawn, it's the possibilities of maybe giving some check on f4. Okay, white played knight d3, so this is covered. Yeah, queen e8, c8 you can play, but d3 also hanging. Yeah, queen here. So white now could, I think, draw with knight with queen f5 check. Okay, white tries to win. He's got the a pawn after all, so this is certainly not unjustified. Black has his chances. The problem is the weak king position. Black always has those knight f2, yeah, knight e3, knight, queen, of course, queen here, and you've got all these checks on the dark squares. Oh, white really tries hard to win. Maybe it's not a big deal to sacrifice pawns here, because you have the a pawn all the time. Black cannot easily do something. Okay, so white now not quite sure what he's trying. I really don't see a winning idea. The queen on d4 always covers a7, and you cannot use your own queen, really. Yeah, hard to believe that this shouldn't end in some perpetual. Okay, but time maybe. Yeah, white down to 8 seconds. Black's really doing a good job here. King d1, yeah. Otherwise it's mate or loss of material. It still looks a lot like a draw, but oh. Wow, yeah, hard to tell now what's happening. Queen d8, yeah, should win now. Shouldn't it? No, it doesn't. Okay, so white forfeited on time. Yeah, white tried too hard to win here, really. It was a draw all the time. So we've got another game here. I actually followed Holt here, Darnock, and now he's playing Hansen, Eric Hansen. And funny, he's not playing under the Canadian flag but under Norway. So not quite sure. I think you can now set up the flags as you like. Yeah, Hansen is an international master from Canada and a very strong blitz player. Also well known on ChessCube. So we've got a Slav here, where white played this kind of, sometimes called the slow Slav with e3. White got the bishop here, and yeah, usually tries to open up the position in a slow manner, while black here, yeah, very quickly also obtained some play on the queen side. So black tries to get something on white's king. Yeah, actually must admit that I quite like black's position here. His attacking chances look quite realistic here. You just need to play something along, let's say rook c8, b4 and c3, and it really opens up on white's king. And it's not so easy to see what white should do. g4, h4, h5, this stuff, yeah, it takes some time. So black is most certainly quicker if you're playing for a pure race. So maybe white needs to do something in the center. Okay, this is an interesting move. Blocking a5 and maybe trying to play a3, yeah, to keep the queen side closed. Interesting. Black might consider knight b8 here, yeah. Knight b8 is maybe an idea, because the knight on c6 would win a tempo and would support this b4 stuff. Knight b8, yeah, could be an idea. Or you can always play this rook c8 move like these. Yeah. Yeah, actually both rooks came into consideration to be put on c8. I think I would have been more inclined to use the f rook, but okay. Yeah, now bishop b4 is a threat, winning an exchange, so black needs to do something. Yeah, not much else to keep the exchange. Yeah, very complicated position. Yeah, I still like black here. This is maybe not justified, but it's always hard to play against two bishops, because, well, you very often you cannot really exchange stuff, because this kind of terrible endgame always looms, and yeah, you need to be very cautious in simplifying the position. Okay, so white went for play in the center, and black, yeah, black couldn't really allow that white plays e5. It was a concrete threat. Yeah, so now black has some play in the center. Very nice queen on e5, and yeah, still the bishop pair is a problem. Yeah, black doesn't want to exchange queens. This is understandable. He could only exchange queens if he would have a very concrete compensation for the bishop pair. Let's say if queens are off, then maybe he would have. He needs to be able to play stuff like knight d7 to e5 to d3. So to sort of set up an internal knight there on d3. This would be some compensation. Okay, so what's happening now? White, yeah, I thought white would maybe need to protect this. Maybe black can even take g2. He didn't do so. Okay, it makes sense, of course. He tries to use this weakened squares on the queen side, on the king side. Sorry. So might bring a knight to f4. So exchange queens, knight f4 to d3. This is, yeah, comparable to what I mentioned. Not via d7, e5, d3, but via h5 to d3. Yeah, now black could take on e1 and play knight f4. Can't he? Wow, this is a really surprising move. I'm sorry. Looks very weakening. But okay, it activates the rook on e8 and yeah. Oh, knight b3 now maybe would have been interesting. Yeah, now it gets very, very tactical. Yeah, knight, queen to f4. Yeah, don't have much else here. Queen f2 maybe, but white also has got queen d5. Queen d5. Yeah, most likely here. Black has always queen f7 to protect this. Yeah, this is hard to do commentary upon. Pure tactics. We've got material equality, and it's just a matter of piece activity. Yeah, knight f4. And the question is, what is the rook doing now? e2 also is hanging, so maybe white needs to take on g7 with the rook. Yeah, rook g7, queen f4. Yeah, black might be good here, but it's still tough. Only imagine that a bishop would come to c3. Oh, no, now why can you? Yeah, you can just take e2. Yeah, okay, so black is winning now. It's just an extra piece, and white is trying to muddy the waters. Yeah, can take d6 now. Yeah, okay, maybe this one as well.
White resigns.
Yeah, h1 hanging, and there's nothing. Yeah, white really broke down quickly here. Black also played very fast. Was and I was super surprised about f5. Yeah, really, and he played this rather quickly, I think. Yeah, it's not entirely pointless, of course. You really activate your pieces, and white is a bit clumsy at the moment with his bishops. They're very nice long term, but they're not doing much at the moment. And those knights, possibly coming to f4 or d3, are always stirring up trouble here. So very interesting. I think that black also could have played slower, like taking knight f4 wouldn't be bad also, but he really sharpened the position here, and he had quite some time advantage also. This certainly helped, and I think in this position, yeah, white needed to take on g7. Can I actually use those? Oh, yeah, I'm learning on the fly here. Can I actually use the? Yeah, I can. I can use the arrows. So white maybe needed to take here. Okay, so we've got a new game here of the same player, Holt again. Oops, somewhat screwed up here. Okay, so a Nimzo again.
Check.
Yeah, he played this before in a game which I didn't do comments upon. This b takes c3, which is kind of uncommon after you played queen c2, which usually tells black, okay, I will recapture with the queen. So this sort of transposes into, yeah, a formation that is more common in the Rubinstein line with 4 e3. So e3 at this point. Okay, black recaptured on d5 with the queen, and will most likely continue b6 here. b6, bishop b7, something like this. Okay, this is the other principled idea, maybe playing for e5. Yeah, white's long-term plan here is to, if possible, advance e4 and d5. And the other plan is exactly this: c4, bishop b2, and trying to push d5. So activate the bishop on the long diagonal. Uh-huh. Yeah, bishop d3 looks normal here. And then black's queen needs to go to h5. Aha, okay, so he immediately tries to use this configuration here. If the knight takes on d5 now, white can take h7 and might even continue with bishop to f5 later. So knight takes d5, yeah, it takes on h7 and bishop f5, yeah. Queen to to h5, it's the only move. Unless there's some weird trick here, but I don't think so. So queen to h5. Yeah, and yeah, he's playing this quicker than I the g4. Yeah, g4 comes into consideration. I'm only asking myself what happens after queen to h3 here. Knight g5. Is this a move? Knight g5. Yeah, no. Just queen h6. I'm not quite getting g4. Queen h3. What happens after queen h3? I mean, black doesn't have any other move anyway. I think queen h6 is just weird. And now queen to h4. Yeah, what? F4. Cool. I'm sorry. I'm not quite sure if this is so great for white. I mean, you also weakened your king position quite considerably here. One idea, of course, is rook f3 to h3. This rook lift, and of course this would somewhat highlight black's precarious queen position. Okay, so black wants to play actively himself. This is interesting. If white would take with the rook, g5 is hanging, and now he's got knight d4. Yeah, this is interesting. Cool continuation by black here. Now knight takes f5. And now maybe just queen g4 and takes on f5. Yeah, this is very interesting, especially for a blitz game. Because now knight g4, queen g4, I don't think there should be anything else.
Check.
Yeah, queen g3 and takes now. And now black has got two pawns for his piece. And he's got this long diagonal. It's not so clear. Or this knight, the queen on f5 also protects h7, so white cannot go. Okay, white exchanges queens would make sense. I mean, it's a bit scary, this king position, but now you have a quite strange knight on h3, and maybe black can just play normal moves and try to even play for compensation here in the end game. It's not easy at all for white to to play this. Black has also ideas like king h7, g6, f5, activating the king. White has a very stupid knight on h3 and a bishop on b2, which isn't attacking anything. It's just these are two pretty much dead pieces at the moment. You need to really sort of activate them. But one thing I didn't really pay attention to up to now is the clocks. White was so much quicker. He's got more than 3.5 minutes left, while black is down to 48 seconds. Yeah, it's looks a bit like like a game played by me as black. That's maybe not 100% correct, but interesting, and maybe you can play it, but you're just too slow. Yeah, maybe rook h8, yeah, to attack the h2 pawn.
Check.
Yeah, this I'm not sure about.
Check.
You don't want to exchange so much. Still, it's maybe playable. Oh, you shouldn't have given away the a pawn. Okay, from a pure. Okay, this was a rook. Yeah, black simply was killed due to his time deficit. He just spent far too much time here. I mean, it's not like I'm the guy who can preach this. I'm playing too slow myself. But this was a very interesting way to continue here. Interesting game.
check,
I think black really has some decent compensation. It's not like a crazy piece sacrifice which doesn't work or something. It's quite interesting. Okay, so I'm not quite sure if I should still follow the white player here. He because there's some other games going on at the moment, which are also interesting maybe, but maybe have progressed already to a certain. Oh no, we could do this here. Yeah, let's do this. Turkish Star against here Eros Hansen again. I'm not quite sure who's Turkish Star or whatever. Ricardo Andrade Quaresma Bernardo. Okay. No idea who this guy is. He doesn't have a flag in there. Okay, so but he's super high. Oh, you've got Darnok again. So let's stay here. I mean, don't want to switch games all the time, and some different players also not bad. So then the opening move 9, and I go quickly to the first moves. We have sort of closed Sicilian here, where black played the funny move e65. Very often you can lose the tempo like this if white has played the knight on f3, because in this closed structure you sort of prefer to use the f pawn, and this is also why white is regrouping here. Yeah, black has this typical Botvinnik setup, this is how it's called, with c5 and e5, which really clamps down on the d4 point. So black has a good control here, and his only problem is the d5 square. What white is now doing really surprises me. He spends quite some time to exchange the c8 bishop, which of course nets white the bishop pair, but I mean the position is fairly closed, and it certainly takes a while to open it up. I'm also surprised that black takes so much time here. This is really an important point here. Interesting. Yeah, I think b5 knight b6 was the idea. Interesting. Yeah, maybe this is a good regrouping. So we've got a maneuvering game here. Black prevented any d4 kinds of ideas with his setup from white, and it's a matter of pawn levers here. Black can attack on the queen side. This is what he's doing. Also f5 is a general idea. For white it's f4, but you need to be cautious as it always opens up the diagonals of those at the moment closed up bishops. So if black plays f5, e takes f5 would open up the bishop, and this is also why f5 wasn't playable at all. And f4 from white also is quite kind of weakening. So white pushed the h pawn, and black jettisoned his a pawn with a3 to weaken the queen side further. Yeah, white is a pawn up, but it's not a great pawn. So white certainly won't win with his extra pawn here. Yeah, black I think would be happy to get rid of all knights here, so he doesn't have to reckon with a knight coming to d5 all the time. So yeah, exactly f6, and now black has got rid of all the knights here. The issue here though is the really poor bishop on h8, which has no square, and I'm not quite sure how black should try to activate this piece. He would need to play f5 at some point to play bishop f6 and so on, but f5 is of course the move that pretty much turns the g2 bishop into a monster. So this is a tricky position. Yeah, it looks like black tries to maneuver a bit. Okay, he plays f5. Yeah, maybe it's unavoidable in the long run, but it's certainly quite a risky move to open up the bishop. Maybe even bishop c6 here. It's not so easy to see how black should cover b5. Yeah, okay, white plays a normal looking move. Bishop c6 looks a bit shaky. Yeah, maybe it is great, maybe it is complete nonsense. So bishop rook to b3 is a good strengthening move though. Yeah, preparing exactly this to put more pressure on b5. Yeah, so maybe white will take now just on b5. Yeah, you can take on b5 and exchange b5 for c3. Not sure if this is so great for white, I mean. So maybe there's some alternative. Okay, but he grabbed it. Yeah, one issue here is black's king position. He's got a very open king. White doesn't have pieces yet near black's king, but this might change soon. So maybe black needs to get something quickly. e3 here, maybe. Yeah, he got rid of this pawn, which is understandable. There's always potential threat or threats connected to this pawn. Yeah, now black has got some play against f2. This looks okay now.
Check.
Black might go queen f6 or queen b6 or e3. e3 would blunder the bishop, not so great. But maybe queen f6 now. Oh, hard to calculate. Queen f6, attacking f2 once more. But rook c7, yeah, might be something you need to calculate. Rook c7. Rook c7 you can also just take with the queen if everything else fails. Yeah, white is under some pressure here. And yeah, he's running out of time. Not so sure what he should play. Yeah, bishop f2 now. Maybe you can go bishop f2 and then rook c8, getting rid of one rook. Trying to get into some, yeah, maybe get the heavy pieces off and trying to draw the endgame against the opposite colored with the opposite colored bishops. Queen h6, you can go bishop h3. Yeah, at best what white can do here is a draw, of course, but he might get this.
Check. Check. Check.
So we've gotten into this endgame. It's oh, is this still a draw? Hard to believe. Maybe it is. Depends on the exact piece setup here.
Accepted.
I have a game running here in the background. Sorry for the take back noise. In the meantime, it actually
Draw.
yeah, it is a draw. We've got the wrong colored bishop here, and So it's a dead draw. Yeah, cool fighting game with ups and downs. So I think in the meantime here Darnock Holt started another game. This was this take back sound, and we got some sort of King's Indian exchange here with h3 though. This kind of line, which I sometimes played also. Rook d1 is a bit uncommon here, but I'm sorry. Usually white plays long castles here. Rook d1 is a similar idea, of course. Knight takes e5 is a simple threat. And now white can go knight d5, which is answered by c6. This is the idea of black's setup. I'm not quite sure who the black player is. He's got an American flag here. William Stewart. Name doesn't ring a bell, but he's quite high rated here on the 5-minute pool. So okay, so white gave this check and then retreated to e3. This is all pretty standard in this line. Knight takes e4 here is not possible for black because rook knight takes c8 and then d7 is lost. So black sort of exactly needs to kick this knight to resolve this configuration. And white now not quite sure what he's thinking about. Takes and plays g4. This is normal. g4 maybe knight d2, but g4 is the usual idea. g4 g5. Yeah, I know this line a bit. I prepared this years ago for a game. So yeah, g4. And now yeah, black needs to attend to this threat. Yeah, one of the ideas of this g4 move is that white might try to play along the lines of g5, h4, bishop h3. This f1 bishop is of course a cause of concern for white. It's quite a bad piece, and you need to get rid of this piece. And this is one way to do this on the h3 square. To be honest, I quite like black here. Still, he's got his knights nicely positioned, and knight f4 also possible. And I'm not sure, white's position doesn't look quite right to me. I mean, certainly black hasn't got any problems here. You could even think of yeah, this is sort of easy way to play this. White white needs to take with the king, otherwise knight g3. And now this position should be quite easy for black to play. Knight c5, huh? Maybe knight c5. But you can go rook b8 actually, and then rook f to d8, bishop f8, and stuff like this. I mean, it's a pretty weird position. The knight on f4 is just nicely placed, and what was b6? b6 was a weird move. He just blundered the exchange, I think. Knight f8, and this wasn't necessary at all. Yeah, and white is just completely winning now. Because of, I mean, okay, he's got an extra exchange, but also he's got the d-file, which is a main feature here, of course. Yeah, g6. So white has quite an easy quite easy ways to improve the position. Not quite sure if this is a threat. Yeah, better step out of this this bishop on h6. If you play h takes 8, h7 takes g6, you can just take on g6. Knight g6, rook takes h6. Yeah, bishop f5, very nice bishop. And then rook d7, yeah.
Check. Check.
Yeah, this is pretty easy technically. You get with the rook to a7 also.
Check.
Get the a7 pawn. You can protect now the queen side first, and then sort of take the whole queen side, maybe. Yeah, not everything, but one or two pawns maybe you'll get. Yeah, black still fights, but it would be surprising if white would let this slip somehow. Yeah, now rook d7 and resigns, I guess.
Take back accepted.
What?
Black resigns.
No idea what happened at the end here. Okay, white was winning this endgame pretty easily, but black had quite a good position, I think. I mean, this year it's not like black is brilliant or what, but let's say rook d8 here, and I think it's perfectly playable. But I think
Check.
maybe this year is questionable.
Check.
Black has other moves here. Can check also on f3 and return to d4 if you're content with the draw. No, not so sure. Not so sure. I need to tidy up a bit here. Sorry for the window jittering. Um, yeah, quite a number of interesting possibilities. Also, maybe just b6 here, knight f4. All kinds of stuff is interesting. And this is, I'm not sure if you really want to drive the king up here. Maybe it helps a bit with white's coordination. But if he goes here like something like rook d8, I don't see what the big problem here. I mean, not b6, but rook d8 here. White exchanges and takes on b7. You've got rook b8 and get to b2. Not quite sure. Black shouldn't be terrible here. All right, so I think this worked out pretty well. Okay, I actually wanted to wrap up the video, but he's just started another game. Okay, I'll do this. I'll do this, and then finish this Kibitzing session here. Got a classical French, and he took on d4, bishop c5. Yeah, all kinds of theory here, theoretical moves. Black usually tries to play on the queen side. Something like take here, then b5, b4, a5, bishop a6. So all pretty normal. Yeah, of course you've got this not so beautiful c8 bishop, but quite often you're able to exchange it on a6 after b4, a5, bishop a6, and white often tries to attack on the king side. Okay, so black is trying for something entirely different here. So he didn't abandon this plan, just inserted this queen a5 move. Okay, white pushed the h-pawn forward. Yeah, now you only need to magically transfer your queen to g7 and you have got a nice game. But it's not so easy. This f6 knight. this d7 knight always covers f6, so you cannot easily go queen h4 to f6 or something. Yeah, and black has got quite some attack already going, so maybe not deadly or something, but he's opening up lines very quickly. Yeah, maybe take on f1 and yeah, knight to knight b6 to c4 would be an idea. Yeah, he tries that. Only need to be cautious of this. Yeah, this crude but maybe effective. It's actually quite. I was thinking about queen d8, maybe not so bad, but okay, he played a very direct continuation with f5 to close up this possibility. But wow, super complicated here. F7 check you can just take with the rook. I'm not sure that this really brings any dividends. Maybe there was something else. Super complicated. Bishop a2. Isn't this just winning? Bishop a2.
Check.
And queen c1. Yeah, now queen a2. Queen a2. Queen c2. Check threatened, and knight c3. Okay, it's white maybe. Oh no, you can go knight c3 check here, and rook a3 is mate.
Check.
And knight c3 also should be winning somehow. White simply hasn't got a threat here. Bishop c3, rook a3 is still a mate. White only has got a check here. Rook a3 mate. Yeah, this was a quick game at the end. Very unclear, very unclear. So around need to. I cannot really go back here. Why? Would like to know why. Cannot go back and move. This irritates me. Alright, I wanted to wrap up this session anyway. It's already close to 50 minutes. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I think there were some pretty cool games in there, and some interesting chess to watch. Yeah, and this Conrad Holt guy is really a terrific blitz player. I'm not quite sure that I had him in one of my commentary games, but maybe it happens soon. I need to gain some rating maybe to have a better chance. My rating suffered a bit recently in the commentary games. Alright, thanks for watching, and leave your questions or comments on YouTube. Thanks, and talk to you soon.